Hi everyone, it's your boy Zach, and YouTube is not. I have a channel, another channel. I'm uploading a video, and it's just not uploading at all. So these things usually resolve within about an hour. But I just finished watching the season finale of season 7 of Arrow, and gosh, oh my gosh! So I did a video the other day, and I was talking about watching Star Trek 5, and I was talking about how there's always this cliche cheeseball comedian impersonation of Shatner. And he's not really like that. He's not like that in the original series. And he's not like that in the first 4 movies. He does act a little bit like that in the 5th movie. And it's like, have you seen so many bad impersonations of you that you're starting to act like the bad impersonations? And that's what I kept thinking about while watching the season finale of season 7 of Arrow. Like, it's so bad. It almost like it forgot what it ever was, and it thinks that the things that people say, like, exaggerate about it, is what it is. So I've watched season 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I was like watched every single episode of the first 4 seasons. 5th one I dipped out. I don't think I watched any of 6, and this is the only one I've seen of 7. No, I watched when they would do those crossovers. So I watched whatever there was a crossover for 5 and 6. But the reason I dipped out was basically all of what I just watched. Now, season 1 was freaking phenomenal. And you got to go back 8 years. And that's what started about this. This is before Flash, before Supergirl, before Black Lightning, before Gotham, before all of these DC shows. This was a primetime, mainstream, big 2. I believe it even preceded Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So when was the last time? Oh boy, I can't even think of anything before that. Like a TV show, like a primetime TV show on a major network. And I had no expectations of it. It looked so cheesy. They cast some guy. He looked like an underwear model. I was like, whatever. This looks stupid. And then I watched the first issue and I was like, whoa. And one of the things that I remember is, God, this freaking fly, is that subtlety. Now, it was still a CW show, so it was never that subtle. But go back and watch season 1. There's a line from the first episode where Oliver comes back. He's readjusting to life. Back then, we thought he had spent 5 years on an island. If you find out later, he had been off the island for several years. He actually went back and put a wig on. Yes, it got really crazy later on. But I believe it's his sister, Thea, asks him, people are kind of avoiding asking him what it was like to be on the island. And finally, she's young. She's like a high school kid. And she goes, what was it like on the island? And he hesitates, a dramatic pause. And he says, it was cold. Now, if you didn't see the show and you didn't see the scene, that might seem like a really anticlimactic answer. But when you watch it and you see the performance and the editing and the directing and all that stuff, that basically encapsulates everything. He's talking about his life on the island. It was just survival. And that's the main thing he remembers, being cold all the time. So I was like, whoa, I'm on board. So I freaking watched, all of this. I probably seen season 1 at least 2 times and possibly 3 times. And I'm talking about all the way through. And I've said this in other videos. I've said it on my other channel. I will put season 1 of Arrow up against any of the seasons of the Marvel Netflix series. So a couple of those seasons were quite good. I would say all of them are overpraised. But season 1 of Arrow is just amazing. It seems like it was written all at once. It's basically one mega story, and it's freaking fantastic. Now, the thing that I started dipping out was season 3 and especially season 4. It just started getting crazy. Everyone had powers. Everyone was a ninja. You could take his sister, you give her 2 training montages. She's as good as a fighter from him. And, they did, basically 5 years of explaining how this like party boy became like the biggest, basically I always call him Blonde Batman. That's what he was in the at least the first 2 seasons. And then, the thing that basically the Trojan horse that destroyed this entire thing was Felicity. And the thing is, I liked Felicity in season 1. She was basically the comedy relief. She was not the love interest, and at least she was not intended as that. She was the IT comedy relief. If you go visit your mom or your grandma, there's all these CBS police detective shows, and they always have the geeky comedy relief IT person. So she was introduced as that, and 2 things happened. Number 1, every single person had to become a superhero. Number 2, Felicity just took over the entire show. If you haven't seen the show, and I would say, how would I describe Felicity? You basically distill every Joss Whedon character, and then you take every female character from a telenovela, and you melt them down into one character, and that's her. I mean, she isn't a Mary Sue in general, but her deal is to be the tech person, except for her version of tech is magic. It's not even just magic. It's easier than magic. In magic, you at least have to cast a spell. With Felicity, every time something's happened, she has already cast a spell. They're like, the League of Assassins has teamed up with Hive and the Ninth Circle, and they've taken over every single computer in the U.S. government. She's like, oh, except for this one. Okay, so you just got to get to this control panel, and I'll tell you to put in this 4-digit code, and then we'll have control. It's like in the earlier episodes in season 1, where they didn't have to squeeze Felicity into every single episode, Oliver would come back and she would say, hey, I've been working on this and I just figured it out. That's legitimate. That's a legitimate, writing shorthand. When the person walks in by coincidence, you just figured it out, or you've almost got it done. But she's in every scene now. There's no time for her to figure it out. She literally just has a tablet and she'll just hit 2 things. And she's like, there's bombs all over the city. Oh, we know where all the bombs are. How? Oh, we've hacked them all. When? You just found out the bombs like 3 seconds ago. You've already hacked them? How did you hack them? When your index finger hit the key twice? So then the other big problem was, and it sounds like I'm reviewing the entire series, and I am, but it's also this episode because it was just a cliche. Okay, so everyone's a ninja, but the fights are all the same. Everyone has the same style because they're all learning from the same fight coordinator, and choreographer. And none of the fights have any stakes. How many bad guys can you fight? X amount of bad guys. So they have these actually pretty cool uniforms on the, I'll call them the putties. They're like the putties from Power Rangers. They're just generic villains you just easily defeat. But everyone has the same fighting style. Everyone can basically fight infinity putties, and it's just stupid. Now we're gonna go back to the Whedon talk. This is specific to this episode. So I've not seen any of the episodes from this season. So there's a character named Emiko who is Oliver's half-sister, and she wants revenge on something. She has a group that looks pretty much like the League of Assassins and pretty much like the Hive. Pretty much exactly. She's also got a thing. And she hates Oliver, and we're blowing up all the city and killing everyone again. So they have these drones that spray out a bacteria. And they actually show it, and it's fairly effective. It's very dramatic. But then they go back to the command center, and they start calling it the scary bacteria robots. Now, you're talking cutesy about drones that will spray bacteria that will eat your face off. Then they have Renee, who's Wild Dog, and he's like this, tough guy from the streets. And he also uses the phrase scary bacteria. Again, this is cutesy pie talk that takes all of the drama out of freaking everything. You then Jesus. This is not a fly. This is one of my enemies reincarnated as a fly. The thing flew straight into my ear canal. Are we serious? Serious. What? Okay, that ruined my entire day. So then they've got bombs. So there's a story. They used to do stories set in the past. This one's set in the future. There's a wall around the city. That's topical. Actually, you know what? Actually, that's fine. The problem is, in the future, guess what? Every single hero from now, their kid is also a hero. Their kids are also ninjas. They're also tech guys. And if you want to watch Infinity 110-pound women beat up 210-pound stuntman, watch Arrow. That's basically all it is now. So it's his daughter. You got the daughter and the son. The daughter, of course, is the tough one. The son is, of course, the skittish one. And she goes to save the city. It's another hackneyed thing. Oh, I'm going to hit a tablet twice. I've solved every tech problem. But by an amazing coincidence, you have to be here. Oh, but if you're here, you'll die. Oh, but you won't die if you just jump off a thing and shoot an arrow at something and swing down. Stupid. But I actually kind of forgot my... Oh, so in 20 years from now, everyone is also a ninja. Everyone else is also a tech genius. Felicity is still there. Oliver isn't there. Felicity is there, solving everything by hitting a freaking... I can't even order... You ever go to like Red Robin and they let you order off the screen? I can't order a blue cheeseburger by just hitting a tablet twice. Felicity can freaking do anything. I actually had some point, but I forget it. So we talked about, the cutesy pie talk. So then there's bombs in the wall. And like everyone has to get stuck with this ridiculous exposition. So Renee Wild Dog is there. And, he's an older guy. And I think he works for the government or something like that. He's like, oh, we planted bombs in the walls, but they can only be activated by someone with Oliver's DNA. And but then they don't say explode. When they talk about the bombs exploding, they say go boom. Again, these are characters that are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and they keep saying go boom. Felicity is, of course, in charge of everything. So they solve the Emiko issue and fairly simply, and then like infinity people on the screen. They have this team. It's like 10 people. Everyone. Oh god. So then they finish it, and Oliver and Felicity. She's pregnant. With the second or with their first kid. Yeah. They go off to a cabin and they have the kid, and then the guy from Crisis shows up and he's like, "Oh, you promised to go help us, and you're gonna die." Honestly, that's kind of interesting. Because two things. Number one, I've heard that the Felicity is written out of the show. Thank goodness. Although it looks like she's only written out of the show because the actress just got tired of it. The second one is that it looks like Oliver Queen is definitely going to die. Or go to some sort of realm akin to death. So I'm really, really interested in a Felicity-less season 8 that looks like it's going to be contained entirely within a Crisis of Infinite Earth. I just did this video talking about how terrible Arrow is, and now I'm saying I'm actually interested in watching season 8. I want this thing needs to end, and if it can end without Felicity, that's even better. And a kind of a new storyline that's maybe more space sci-fi centric, I'm totally down with that. So yeah, Arrow was terrible, and I'm excited for season 8. So anyway, thanks for watching. And I'm going to do The Dark Crystal. Don't get excited. I liked it as a kid. Wait, I thought I liked it as a kid. And then I rewatched it like 5 years ago and I hated it. Because I realized I actually never saw all of it as a kid. I saw bits and pieces at my friend, my rich friend. Their family had HBO. Lived on the same block, but they were rich because they had HBO. And I actually made up a whole plot of Dark Crystal. I really hadn't seen the movie all the way through. So when I saw it a couple years ago with my son, we both didn't like it. And but I'm going to give it a good chance because they're coming back. They got I think it's a Netflix movie, maybe a miniseries. The Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance. That's topical. Anyway, I'm going to go try to emotionally deal with a giant fly flying straight inside my ear canal. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll have that dark crystal review up tomorrow. Bye.